Funny story, I don't have a GPA. Hey friend, welcome back to the channel. My name is Stacia for those who are new here, and I'm so happy to have you here. Today I'm talking all about prepping in general to apply to law school. Not this cycle, but for the 2026 cycle. So I'll be applying next fall. Granted, I say I'm applying for the 2026 cycle. That's pending an LSAT score that I'm proud of. So if I don't get a score that I feel like best reflects me, then I'm not going to apply next cycle. So take it with a grain of salt. I'm taking it with a grain of salt. So let's get started. First thing is the LSAT. The LSAT, I don't like standardized tests, never have, never will. There has to be a better way to get the same info from standardized testing than what we currently do, but I don't have that solution. So here we are, needing to take standardized tests. Starting off with LSAT Prep, I am using the LSAT Daemon as my primary study tool. I dabbled a little bit in LSAT Daemon, obviously, in 7 Sage, online in Khan Academy, and out of those 3, because those were the 3 that I really was considering, I really liked LSAT Daemon. I also was listening to their 2 podcasts, so Thinking LSAT and the LSAT Daemon Daily, and I just felt the most natural to continue to work on prepping with them. And I really like their system just because it creates a similar test environment. Also, fun fact, if you go onto the LSAC with a C website, apply for a fee waiver, you never know. And even if you're outside of the income bracket, if you have bills and you don't have money that carries over and you don't have, a crazy savings or crazy investments or whatever things they ask for at this point, I kind of forgot what they asked for, but you might qualify for a fee waiver even if you aren't within that income level. I qualified for a fee waiver, and so I was able to use that to get a cheaper subscription price for LSAT Daemon. So I just use the basic because it's truly all I can afford right now. But if you're able to get the premium or the live, I don't know if those are the tiers. I might be wrong. If I spoke wrong, I'll put them on the screen. If you're able to have more advanced packages, I would so do it. I mean, you get unlimited classes in some of them. Within the basic, I get access to some of the free classes after they've happened, and then every now and then they'll host a free class for everyone that is live, which is really cool. And it's been really good. I feel like I'm pretty good with self-studying. I had to self-study for my personal training certificate, and I am used to having to self-study, so it's not a foreign thing to me at this point. For prep books, I am using the LSAT trainer. I got through, around the first 100 pages, and I'm thinking that this one isn't going to be as helpful for me. I got it because I read a couple reviews, watched some videos, and people had said this was a good intro to the LSAT, and I think I would agree. However, once it breaks down into question type, it just doesn't really help me and my learning style. And a lot of the LSAT trainer delves deeper into question types and your approach to each type of question. And it was just like, as someone with an ADHD brain who's kind of always swirling around, having even more information kind of stressed me out. But if you're very type A and you like having clear categories for things, I think you'd really like the LSAT trainer. The other book that I'm going through right now is The Loophole by Ellen Cassidy. I love this book. This one has made logical reasoning so much more accessible and understandable to me because it truly is just another way of thinking. Logical reasoning questions really are just training you to think in a specific way. And I think Ellen Cassidy does a really good job of breaking it down as far as the English side of it. So I haven't had an English class in a long time, so it's nice to kind of just have the refreshers like, oh yeah, okay, now I can kind of see what they're doing. Being able to break down the sentences and just get to the root question has been super, super helpful. I haven't finished this yet, but this is going to be my Bible, I think. I feel really, let me not say that. I was about to say I feel really good about reading comprehension. I feel better about reading comprehension than I do with LR. So take that as you will. This will be my saving grace during my entire study period. So I'll probably continue to read the LSAT trainer, but with a grain of salt. If I already did like my study session for the day, and maybe I have the bandwidth to do a little bit more, maybe I'll read a chapter or two out of the LSAT trainer. I will most certainly be finishing the loophole. So if logical reasoning is something that, you might be struggling with or having, just trouble understanding, I definitely recommend the loophole. Last but not least for LSAT prep is my study schedule. So I am studying every single day, 7 days a week, minimum 1 hour a day, maximum 2 to 2.5 hours a day. I don't want to overdo it because there's a certain point where even if I feel motivated to continue, there's a certain point where I stop absorbing information, and I think I actually make it worse for myself in the long run because it's not as high quality of studying as it was in the first hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. I'm actually going to put a link up to my current study schedule. This is what I've been following. This is when I was specifically doing the loophole and the LSAT trainer. So if you're interested in getting both books, this will be a great study schedule for you. If you're in the same boat as me, where having very clear, defined, like this is the question type, this is how I approach the question type thing, if that isn't for you and you just want to read the loophole, just replace the sections where it says LSAT trainer with the loophole and you'll have the same study schedule. The next big thing I am thinking about currently is my personal statement, and I know I'm not applying this cycle, but it is something that's at the back of my head, and I want to have a clear idea of what that statement is going to look like. So in the year leading up to when I do eventually apply, I can make sure that my actions that I'm taking are in alignment with that personal statement. Not to say that I'm going to be changing so many things, but I just want to make sure that, if there's something that I can be doing that is in alignment with what I want and with what I'm writing about, I want to make sure that I'm taking full advantage of those opportunities or making those opportunities for myself. I actually we're a little on and off right now, but a martial arts client who I trained with, who's actually a lawyer, and we're pretty close. I've watched his house while he and his husband were off visiting family. So I feel like we are pretty close in that regard. So we were on the phone and I was just asking a bunch of questions and he was offering me some really good advice. And he posed the question to me, what led you to this path? And I was able to talk a little bit more about that. And after I kind of explained it, he was like, wow, I think you have your personal statement already. And it just kind of took me back because I was racking my brain and like kind of stressing myself out, trying to figure out like what on earth would I even write about. And I think I actually said, oh my gosh, really? Like, really? And he was like, yeah. And I am so happy that I spoke with him because I don't know that I would have arrived to that topic, but it's something that's so real. And I don't want to talk about what I'm going to write about just because I'm paranoid. I'm convinced I'm not saying that anyone watching this would steal my idea or like my reality or my current lived experience, but there's part of me that is scared about just like saying it now. If I get into law school come 2 years from now, 1 or 2 years from now, I'll let you know what I wrote about. Also, I currently work in admissions. So I'm a personal trainer and then I work in admissions at my alma mater. And there's an interesting reality at play where I, to a certain degree, understand the process as far as what applying to a college and what pursuing higher education looks like in today's market. However, applying to law school is different. I primarily work with artists And so it is a lot different of a process. That reality has been interesting to say the least. There's one thing that does carry a through line between these two worlds of applying to art school or applying to law school. It's always leading with your purpose and your personal statement and how that relates to the program that you're applying to. Like, what can the program do for you to help you on your path? Because it's less about you trying to show the program why you're so great, but instead you showing why you're so great and how the program's going to help you on your path. Like, no matter what, you're gonna do this, and it's really the program's decision to say whether or not they want to be a part of that story. And if you write the personal statement well, those programs are going to want to help you. You know, you want the program to want to be a part of your story. And so that's kind of what I'm leading with. As far as addendums, funny story, I don't have a GPA. Yeah, you heard that right. I don't have a GPA. My undergrad institution operated on a pass-fail system. They still do it today. And I'm pretty sure that's been in effect since the school started. Very radical, revolutionary. We love it. Very progressive. I was there from 2016 to 2020. Because of that, I'm a bit of a non-traditional student. There are no grades. So all I have to do is show up, having done my work, and be ready to learn. And I feel like my mind expanded after my first year. It's like, holy crap, this has been the most challenging year I've ever had academically. And those classes were hard. I'm telling you, I had to write a lot as an undergrad student, and it pushed me. It was very rigorous. And I think, unfortunately for me, not all pass-fail systems within schools are built the same. Programs and institutions that still have that traditional grading system think that pass-fail means easy. And because of that, I know I'm going to need a killer LSAT score to prove that I'm not a fucking idiot, honestly. All that being said, I will be writing a GPA addendum just because I'm going to need to offer a little more context to my transcript. And a lot of the classes that I took have these weird titles, and it's just so art, which I feel is very far removed from the law world. Another tricky topic, depending on what school you're applying to, is diversity and DEI. There are certain states, I'm sure we're all aware, that have eradicated any DEI initiatives, offices within their higher ed institutions. And luckily for me, all the schools that I'm interested in still will have that space to write about it in your application. They've just called it something else and have left it more open. My advice to any person of color who is applying to college or university, especially in those states that have fully eradicated all DEI, in those spaces on the application where it asks for a statement of experience or it'll be named something very vague, that's the place where you do it. But really focus in on how being who you are, your identity, has affected how you interact with others, how that's impacted your life, how you go through life, and what experiences you've had because of who you are or because of what you look like. It's a little bit trickier to kind of parse through. Yeah. Lastly, I went to the LSAC with a C Forum. So this is essentially just a college fair. I feel like they call it a forum because there's workshops as well, but it's a college fair. Let's just call it what it is. It was certainly interesting. I am an introvert. Sorry, I'm an introvert. And that overwhelmed me. I was so overwhelmed and I felt like the ugly duckling. I felt like a black sheep. I just felt like I did not belong. I looked like I belonged. So I showed up business casual, and man, you could just tell that it's like, wow, some of these people have been wanting to do this their entire life. Nothing wrong with that. More power to you. And I am simply an actor that has found a new path. I am simply an actor that has found a new path. Oh my gosh. Ironically, I thought I was going to be okay because I work in admissions, but it was just different. Let me backtrack. Got to visit the schools that I wanted to. I got really excited about some schools that I wasn't expecting to feel excited about. And some of the schools that I was really, really excited about, I was like, oh.
These are the vibes.
Okay, good to know. Will probably still apply, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna mention the schools that I wasn't crazy about, but I will say I met with UCLA and got really excited about them, and I wasn't expecting to be all about them. And I met with UT Austin, and again, I was somewhat interested. I wouldn't say it was like my, oh my god, UT Austin, but it certainly wasn't my lowest, and after meeting with them I got really, really excited as well. Those were surprising for me, and so if you haven't looked into either of those schools, I'm sure you've looked into UCLA, but if you haven't looked into UT Austin, I would recommend doing that. The only thing that kind of sucks is that it's in Texas, and Texas has no rights for women. My body wouldn't belong to me anymore, so there's that. It's a different world out in Texas. I'm from Texas, so I feel like I can be a little critical. It was a little intimidating, to be honest, and it made me reevaluate what it means to, you know, be a host. As someone behind the table, as someone who works in admissions, and I do go on college fair visits, and that age-old quote, people don't remember what you say, but they do remember how they made you feel. And so, you know, going forward on a personal level, I just want to make sure that everyone who comes and visits, you know, my school's table feels really comfortable, able to ask questions that are on the website, and I will answer them loud and proud. But I want them to leave feeling excited and not spoken down to. If you go to an LSAC forum, do your best. It's going to be a pain in the behind, but go on each of the school's websites that you want to speak with, and don't ask anything that can be found on their website. Don't ask information that can be found on the 509 reports. Also, don't feel intimidated if you only need to speak with them for a minute or two. Like, there was a little bit of pressure that I put myself under, because it's like, man, people are talking to them for like 5 minutes each, it feels like. And I would go up there and it's like, I only really had, you know, 2.5 minutes worth of questions, and our conversation was short and sweet. Got in my head about that. So don't get in your head about that. Who cares how long people are talking to them? This is about you getting the information that you want and need. Don't force it. I felt the pressure of truly not wanting to waste someone's time. And there were certain schools where I felt like I was wasting time. I did my research, you know, my questions weren't on the website. They were a little more specific, just because I am a non-traditional student. I went up to one school and I said straight up, hey, I'm a non-traditional student. And the admissions person was like, non-traditional doesn't really exist. And I was like, oh, well, we'll see about that. I think I literally said that, but it was all good fun. Big takeaway was GPA. If you don't have a GPA like me, write an addendum, write an addendum, write an addendum. Overall, I think it was a very neutral experience. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. And so for that, I'm grateful. I mean, it was a good day. Would love to have you here for the rest of my journey. I've been really into study with me videos, so I'm thinking about making one of those because I just think it's fun. If you are also a non-traditional student, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Be sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, all the things. It really helps my channel and it lets me know what videos that you're interested in. If you're a non-traditional student, let me know in the bottom. If you're another theater baby going into law, let me know. We're twins. And I'll see you next time. Bye, friend.
Yeah.